Clink.
Clink. All right.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
I wore my spooky shirt today.
Spooky season went by way too fast this year.
Caring for your demon cats.
Yes.
Yeah, it did. How is it?
Which is.
How is it?
Never mind.
Yeah, don't. I know what you were going for. Don't do it. But how is it already Halloween? Like, it was just October 1st.
Yeah.
And now we're going into November.
Yeah. Life comes at you fast, man.
Yeah.
It really does. Life comes at you fast when you're living paycheck to paycheck.
Well, I mean, because we release on Wednesday, so it's already November. But yeah, that's Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah. I still haven't gotten my costumes yet. I was slacking, and this year I have to have 3.
I don't have a costume.
Yeah, I'm working 2 events and then going out on actual Halloween night. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do because I haven't gotten anything yet.
I think I'm just going to paint my face. Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyways, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the podcast where we pull back the curtain on your favorite bars and restaurants and give you a little... I fucked it up.
Yeah?
I fucked it up.
Yeah?
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the podcast where we pull back the curtain and give you some insight on what goes on behind the scenes of your favorite bar and restaurant. I like to call that the industry perspective. There we go.
Breathe.
Yeah, I got it. I fucked it up. Holy shit.
Breathe, my guy. Breathe, man. Man.
Yeah. So I want to just start it off and just kick it off right away. Do you remember the first time you tried alcohol?
Okay, so by alcohol, do you mean spirit or say like beer, wine?
I'm going to say spirit.
Spirit?
First time you ever tried it?
No, I don't.
I do, because that was I don't want to say traumatizing event for me, but I remember it so distinctly. So this was maybe when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
I think. And it was back in Chicago. My grandparents were having a Christmas party. So family, get together, this and that, whatever. It was a good time. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of family, a lot of food, everything you expect from like a Puerto Rican Christmas. So it was great. And it was at the point where like all the adults were getting kind of drunk now. So they were dancing and drinking and this and that. And because there were so many people, you have like the foam cups and stuff. So that's always regular cups.
Yeah.
So I had water that I was drinking, and I put it down on the table. I went to go play with my cousins, whatever, and I'm like, I'm looking for my water because I was thirsty. So I'm like, I'm asking my mom. I'm like, do you know where my water's at? And she's like, I think it's that one. So I go to grab it, and there was 2 of them right next to each other. She's like, I think it's that one. Or was it my tia that said it? I can't remember, but I remember them saying like, it's that one. So I go, and being as thirsty as it was from running around, went to take a big gulp, and all I felt was just burning fire. Just hit my mouth, and I was like, I spat it out, and I started crying. And I think that's when my tia came over. She's like, "Oh my God, that was my vodka."
Yes.
And I'm just fucking crying because I'm like, what was that? I don't know what that was. I thought I was in trouble because I drank the alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's laughing. My mom's laughing. I'm fucking crying, man. I had no idea what I just drank. I was scared. I was scared. It was genuine fear that ran through me because I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Spat it out.
That's
just crying.
crazy.
And I was like, I couldn't drink any water for the rest of that night. I was just so scared.
You
so
traumatized.
Like juice and cranberry juice or whatever. Yeah.
Traumatized.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm never drinking this ever again.
During that, all I could think of was Rick James's song where he's like, "Fire." I was like, damn.
No, that's what it was at 7, 8 years old.
Man.
When I can remember having my first sip of alcohol. Yeah, it was vodka.
I have a memory not
Spirit
like that, nowhere near as good as yours. I have a memory of the first time I think I had alcohol. As far as the first time I know I had alcohol, I don't know. But I had a beer when I was like 6 or whatever. I remember I
definitely
had a
had a
barbecue, you know.
Yeah.
And then, but there was one time where my mom had a party, and I remember coming out of my room to get some Pepsi, and I just grabbed the first red Solo cup I saw and took a sip of that. And I remember I was watching TV in her room, and I came out to get it, and I look out and like, there's a couple in the corner over here with a blanket. There's a couple over here with a blanket. There's people outside. I was like, damn, now I think back, I was like, my mom used to get down, bro. Like, there were people just wrapped up in blankets everywhere. And I just remember, like, after I drank that Pepsi, I was like, well, that corner's free and no one's under that blanket. So I got under that blanket. And my mom woke me up and she was like, you slept almost 2 whole days. Like, because I slept that entire day. She said my friend came over to play, and she was like, I told him that you were asleep, and he didn't believe me, so I opened the door, and we just saw you in the corner curled up in a ball. And I was like, damn, I missed play dates? Like, I slept through the weekend because it was Monday morning. I had to go to school. I felt robbed, bro. Like, I felt so robbed of my weekend. Yeah. But I don't know what was in it, so that doesn't count.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's like someone putting a thumb up your butt. You didn't ask for it. You're like, that wasn't anal. I didn't ask for that. Like, that's how I felt. I got the equivalent of my oil check when I was 7. I was a court low, so I slept 2 days. Shout out to my boy Rec, my brother right there. That's something he used to always say back in the day.
Oh my God.
Whenever somebody would like, this is fucking stupid. But like, we used to hang out in spots where it'd be like a ton of people. And we'd all be hanging out like all day, just drinking. And so it's like high school, but it's guys in their 30s and 40s. So what are they doing? Stupid shit. And you see some people go up, somebody be talking in a group, like having a good, a good conversation, and somebody go up behind them and just go, be like, yo, you a court low, bro, and just walk off. Oh, you see some of the biggest dudes you've ever seen your entire life, and someone just stuck their thumb up their butt with full confidence in front of other people, and they survived. Like, dead ass.
Oh,
but shout out to the brother Rec, man. Much love.
That's so bad. That's so bad.
I probably messed up any segue we would have had.
Yeah, that's okay. I just wanted to share my first alcohol story, but
all right.
And then you just lost the whole weekend.
And I overshared, as I always do. I always got to overshare. I don't see where this is on our list, but it's something that I know we've been talking about. And that's when you come up to the bar and you have a tab, please don't think that I know who you are if I haven't served you. And even if I have, don't just assume. Don't assume that your server, bartender, especially if it's just a bartender. And when I say just a bartender, I mean you've been frolicking about in the venue or whatever, doing whatever it is you're doing, and I've been over here working, or they've been working, whoever it is, and you come up like, oh, I need to add this to a tab, or I need to close out a tab, and then you just sit there and like, and that's it. It's like, okay, well, I'm expecting you to say, I need to close out whatever your last name is, Rodriguez,
Smith,
White, Brown. I'm just thinking colors now, but whatever. But those are names. I see them all the time, but I've seen some really crazy names over the last couple of weeks that I could never hope to spell without seeing it. But yeah, like, don't assume that the person you're talking to remembers you and remembers what you drank and remembers your tab, because chances are they don't. Come up and say, I want to close this tab, and then if you want to say your first name, say your first name and your last name.
Yeah.
But don't come up and be like, I need to close out Chris. It's a blue card. Do you think I don't have any more blue Chris's in this magic books that I have over here, full of cards that are blue and are Chris? Some are Chris, some are Christopher. Some are blue, some are navy. Which one? And then a lot of times people will give you a card and they think they gave you a card with this color and it's a whole different color.
Yeah.
Oh, I gave you the wrong card, man. Or people come up like, you got my card. And I'm like, I don't know who you are, bro.
Yeah, you got my card. I'm like, oh, okay, what's your fucking name? Tom. Tom what?
Yeah. And then
I
the card
hate
ends
that
up
shit.
being in their wallet already.
They're like, oh shit, my bad. Yeah, dumbass.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm sorry. That
No, it is really annoying.
that's been bugging me for a really
no,
long time.
it happens way too often, and people just assume that we know who they are, this and that. Like, well, I've been here 3 times. Yeah, you and everybody else in this building has come up here at least 3 or 4 more times. Unless you said or did something very significant for me to remember you by, I don't know who the fuck you are. Everything's a blur for the most part.
Even if there was a significant moment that we had together, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna remember it just right off the top of my head. You got to remember, people in the service industry are having to see numerous people all day, every day, having to remember everything, remembering what their menu is, if it just changed, what are we out of that day, what do I need to pick up on my way home, like all of those different things. Have I checked on that table in the last 5 to 10 minutes? Is their food ready? Is their drink ready? You know, like we have a lot going on in our heads, man. Like, don't just assume that we know what you're thinking when you walk up to us. You know, if I walked up to you while you were doing whatever job it is that you do and say we know each other and we had plans for tomorrow, I'm not going to walk up to you while you're at work like, hey, what time tomorrow?
You're over here doing fucking calculations for tomorrow's business meeting and shit.
Yeah. Or you're working on a car. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is you're doing. Like,
or doing open heart surgery. I mean, I'm not just going to walk in the operating room and be like, hey, so what time were we meeting tomorrow?
Yeah.
And you're knuckles deep in somebody's chest.
Walking up like, what color were you thinking about painting your house next? I'm not trying to think about that right now. Like, just and we make jokes. I know we're comparing it to those things, but at the same time, just because you don't think what the person is doing is important doesn't mean it's not. It's just not important to you. But as I've said, you've definitely said, you are very big on this. Like, if you don't want to take care of the person taking care of you, then stay home.
Stay the fuck home.
Just stay home.
Not just stay home. Stay the fuck home.
Yeah. Yeah, because
stay your ass home.
Like, we know what we signed up for, but we didn't sign up for all of it every day with people who never have like you know, just like
etiquette,
courtesy. Yeah.
There's proper etiquette for it.
Yeah. Have some home training.
Speaking of those million things on your mind while you're bartending or whatever, this and that. Yeah. I really am starting to realize that I don't like any part of any serving aspect that comes along with bartending. Like, if I'm behind the bar, I like being just behind the bar. I don't want to have to go and, you know, bring water to a table or bring drinks. We said it before when Aaron was here that I'm clumsy. You're clumsy. I can't carry a tray full of drinks. So I'd rather just carry the glasses. Yeah. And in some places that isn't, what's the word? It's not professional, but like classy, I guess, or whatever. Like, it doesn't look classy. Yeah. But it's like, if I put these on a tray, I'm going to spill them. I'd rather hold them, you know, by the stems, whatever, and drop them, because I can't, for some reason, just trays. You know, I go to take one drink and it fucking flops over. I can't do that. Yeah. But I also just hate having to go to a table and ask for. I don't like serving. That's why I decided to be a bartender. I hate it.
Yeah. No, I'm
behind the
bar,
with you and I will do all of those things, but behind the bar. I'll give them their water. You know, I'll pour their drinks in front of them. The food comes out, I'll throw right in front of there. But I don't want to go chase down tables. I hate that shit.
Hate it. And I know we've talked about that before. Yeah, I signed up for this by, you know, choosing to work at a place where that may come up. But my opinion has always been, if you hire someone to be a mechanic, you shouldn't also expect them to manage your checkbook for you. You know what I'm saying? There may be a person, like, say, or manage the inventory. The lead mechanic isn't managing the inventory. They have a manager there to manage the inventory. Your lead mechanic isn't your cashier taking care of you at the front. Yeah. You have your cashier taking care of you at the front, setting the appointments and things like that. Just like other jobs have those set roles for you, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that going into a job as a server, you should expect to only serve. or going in as a bartender, you should expect to only bartend.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that sometimes the nature of the business, which is what I've always heard from managers, and I've hated that phrase. The nature of the business means someone isn't being paid enough at this position to stay here, or isn't feeling as comfortable as they want to in this position to work that job. So every once in a while, you need someone to cover for them when they call out because they don't want to be here, or they quit unexpectedly or get fired or whatever. So you have people who have to know all these different positions that they don't want to know. If the business was paying people enough where you could have a server that only took care of the tables, guess what? Your bartender can focus on being a better bartender, and vice versa. Don't have your server jumping behind your bar trying to make cocktails because your bartender had to walk out because they're not making any money or don't feel comfortable with the environment or whatever. And now you're running your server into the ground, which if that server hasn't had to learn traditional cocktails like we talked about in the last episode, what if they get put behind the bar and they get asked to make a Manhattan, and they're just like, "Oh, I think."
I remember that video with John Taffer. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do what he did.
You're right. You know, so as I've always been saying, you know, just to bring it home is like you got to have the right environment.
Yeah,
you just have to have the right environment. So I don't think it's wrong of you to feel that way. You know, like a lot of people do. Like, no, I signed up for this job.
That's
it's
what
not
I want to do.
Exactly. It's not always a pretentious feeling to say, nah, I just want to do the job that I applied for. But in our business, a lot of times we don't have that opportunity.
So you mentioned people walking out and stuff like that, but to kind of, I guess, piggyback off of that, as far as the aspect of not quitting, the employees, bartenders, or whatever that still kind of linger around while they're still on the clock when their shift is over, when they need to leave. Excuse me, I'm burping. Because they're trying to milk that clock as much as they can for that tip money. And all they're doing is just taking money out of your pocket. Like they don't, like when you tell them like, hey, just go.
Yeah.
That means leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, your well might be a little, just go, clock out.
Yeah.
Clock out right now. Don't stick around. It's whatever. We'll take care of it.
Oh man, I hate that.
Leave.
I hate
Please
that.
clock out.
I hate that.
Just go.
Yeah. I was just having that conversation a couple days ago.
Some people linger and they don't understand, like, hey, I need you to leave because you're dipping into my money now.
And it's also not just that. So the conversation I was having was actually with my GM. So we were just talking about how I was the opener and the closing bartender, when they came in, we worked together while it was busy enough to have two people. Eventually it got to a point where it was a little slow, and for the sake of everyone's money, it's like, okay, well, let me go ahead and get out of here. So I'm not taking more money. Let me leave. I don't want to be here longer than I need to be, and I'm not doing enough work. I want to stay busy just like you, and I don't want to be taking money out of your pocket. That just kills the morale anyway. What, just to make an extra $20-$30 or something like that? Maybe, like, what's the point?
10.
But I was also saying to that person, one of the things I love about working, not only where I work, but also with the people I work with, is that whoever the closer is, they're not trying to ask you to stay longer because they're like, oh, I can't handle it. And they also know when you're trying to leave, they're not trying to ask you to do extra stuff for free either.
Yeah.
If they get a little busy, it's like, no, I still need you to get out of my way because I would work better with you not behind the bar. Everyone where I work at feels comfortable to say, I can handle the bar. And everyone who's supposed to be leaving feels comfortable. Yeah, they can handle the bar. But there's also that mutual respect of, I want them to make the money that they should be making. And I've already made the money I should be making. I'm not trying to take anything from them as well. So it still goes back to environment.
Yeah. When it's time to clock out, just clock out.
Yeah. Just
When
get
it's
out.
time to go, just go. And speaking of going, I had this instance a couple weeks back, and I keep forgetting to bring it up, but thankfully we have the notes for it. Working at a privately owned business has its benefits, but sometimes you have those moments where, friends of the owners, whatever, come in and come for a drink or whatever, that's fine. We'll show them a good time, take care of them, whatever, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that moment where like it's time to close because it's that time, and then they pull that, oh well, I know the owner. Okay, well the owner's not here, so get the fuck out.
Even if the owner is here, I know the owner too.
Yeah, so do I. I work for him. I know him too. But like and I don't want to get too specific, but it was this one event I was working, and then me and my coworker were trying to clean up with this or that. And we cut off the music, and they went and turned on the music again. I was like, "Hey guys, we're done.
Yeah,
like that's it. We're done. Just like you guys got to finish your drinks. We're done already." They're like, "Oh, well, we know the owner." I'm like, "Okay, well, we're still done."
Yeah, I love those people.
They still decided to do whatever. I wasn't gonna waste any more energy. I just was gonna finish cleaning, and then I was gonna shut off the lights afterwards. But thankfully, they got up before then.
Yeah.
But that really got into my skin because they're like, "Oh yeah, we know so." I'm like, "Okay, cool.
I still need you.
The owner's not fucking here right now.
Yeah.
So get the fuck out. I don't care. If you're friends of the owner, like you say you are, you should know that his business is closing. So that means get the fuck out, not play with the DJ equipment and play music or whatever this and that.
Yeah.
That means you either aren't friends with the owner like you say you are, or you don't respect his business, his employees, and the owner. So
and you also don't respect the owner's payroll.
Yeah. Because you're fucking around with the money. Like
having us stay there for longer that's just costing the owner money.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there, the lights are on for longer, and now you're paying payroll for me being here. And I mean, especially if there's more people, you're paying for multiple people just because you don't want to go to the next spot or don't want to go home. But to me, that's always a sign of someone who isn't as happy as they should be at home. Because to me, I love going home. I love going out, but I love going home more.
Oh, yeah.
I really love going home. Like, for real, for real. All my stuff is there.
And then just to make this clear, the owner had our backs because I even mentioned it to him. I'm like, hey, you got some people here that said they were waiting for you or whatever, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they left before he responded. But he told me, he's like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was about. He's like, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have been here that long. I'm like, they got out, a couple minutes before we actually left.
Speaking of getting out, with what you were just saying about like knowing when it's time for you to get out when your shift is over, you should also know when it's time for you to get out when you need to find another job. Because I've seen so many managers, servers, bartenders stay too long, and like watching watching football this season, we're seeing, like segue. I love football. If anybody wants to talk football with me, hit me up, not in the comments, just hit me in the DMs. I'll talk football with you all day. Anyway, we're seeing with some quarterbacks that like, man, they probably should have got out like last year. And it's so sad to see someone showing up to work every day when they had the option to leave, and they just keep coming in and having that negative energy. Like, if you don't like your job, please go find another one. Life is so short.
Stop torturing yourself.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
And stop torturing those around you.
Yeah.
Stop torturing the business. And this is not just service industry. Like, if you're an accountant and you hate the place that you're being an accountant at, you're not going to be the best accountant you could be.
Mm-mm.
You're going to be the best version you can within those confines of not being fired and just paying your bills or whatever. So just, if you want to enjoy your life, just do the things that make you happy and work in a place that makes you happy. So if you're walking into a bar or a restaurant or whatever every shift and you hate that place, just go find another job, please, because you're dragging everyone else down with you. Like, that energy is just so toxic. And I really hate that.
I think for me personally, I'm able to say that the places that I worked at, while I may have not wanted to be there anymore, I still went there and did the work I needed to get done.
Right.
But when the doors were closed, the lights were on, I was like, man, fuck this shit. I need to get the fuck out of here. Like, that's after the service is over. I can talk my shit and just clean and get the frustrations out while cleaning.
Yeah.
So hopefully nobody's ever felt that way about me. Like, hey, you need to leave. A lot of the places people were like,
you're like cleaning the bar like a kid talking about like, I'm gonna run away. You're like packing a bag, trying to find your favorite toy. Like, man, I'm gonna leave.
I'm never coming back.
And then when they're like, dinner's ready, you're like, all right, I guess I'll go eat dinner. And next thing you know, you're still staying there.
The dinner is the paycheck. Like, here's your paycheck. Like,
hey,
all right,
hey,
whatever.
get your to-go bag and run, man. Get out of
go.
there. Just run away.
Fucking go.
Just run away with your misfit toys.
But even when I'm not happy in a place, I still like to go in and, you know, just give it what I can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's not my coworkers' fault. It's that whatever shit situation I'm in. But yeah, I like to go in all the time with work with a positive attitude. I'm thankful that I work in 2 places that I enjoy very much. So I always go in. People are always happy to see me. Always happy to see people. And yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing I notice, and this is a terrible segue. I hate that we have to say that, by the way. They're like, oh, this is a segue.
We don't have to say that.
I know, but
I think it's kind of our thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I recall talking shit about this previously in my other podcast. Caesar called
ass bitch.
And Caesar called me out for something I tweeted about earlier in the week.
Oh.
Yeah, I tweeted.
I missed this one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I tweeted saying something about like tip, 15%, the real ones tip 20, this and that. And he was like, oh, how the tables have turned. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's like, I remember you saying I shouldn't have to tip this and that because that I was like, that doesn't sound like something I said.
He went back into your tweets.
He went back into Facebook.
Ooh.
And I was like, I don't think I said something like that, but if I did,
wow, you
I'm
ain't
not
even
the same
famous.
person as I was
you ain't
yesterday.
even famous yet, and you already got canceled by your old content.
No, Caesar's good at doing
You
that.
got Kevin Harted. You cheating ass bitch. Okay,
Yeah.
I see how it is.
Yeah.
All right.
But he tried to pull
dawg.
out the receipts. I'm like, I
got
don't
you.
think I said that, but if I did, that was like 10 years ago. So,
Yeah,
I'm not the same person I was
to this.
yesterday.
Yeah.
But I
No, I was gonna say I did ask. Remember, I've never been a terrible tipper because I remember when I was a teenager, I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
My best friend, we went to a restaurant and he did the whole $10 trick where you put 10 singles on the table.
You take one.
And every
that's
time that
sadistic.
woman did something wrong, he took $1 away, and I just felt
That's sadistic.
so bad for her, even though I was only like 16. I want to say, I just knew that just felt wrong to do that to someone. So I've just never been able to be that person who couldn't tip.
That's
what
fucked up.
I have changed though about my tipping is knowing when to appropriately tip. As opposed to like the POC $5 tip. You know what I mean? Like I remember when I was younger, I heard like, oh, it was black people who always gave $5. And then as I got older, I heard, oh no, it's Mexican people who only give $5. And I've now heard that about every race. It's just how people are.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks $5 is a good tip. This ain't Subway. It's not a $5 foot long. You need to tip appropriately.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I apologize for interrupting on that. I just was.
But to bring it back, I remember talking shit about. This is mostly talking shit about, like, the girls that would post on their stories saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna be at work, come visit me, this and that." And I don't say like thirst trapping or this and that, but like that. Oh, come visit me, and I'm like,
yeah.
And what it was at the core of it was me hating because I could never do that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come visit me, like, motherfucker, nobody want to see you. Shut the fuck up.
Dead
Shut
ass.
the fuck up. We don't want to see you.
If
Shut up.
I cannot describe to you the level
hating.
of cringe I've felt when I've seen a straight male, and I say that for a reason, do the selfie of them at work saying, come visit me, because they don't do it the way that their personality reflects. Like, I know them. They don't take photos like that. They're doing it because they saw female bartenders do it. Or gay male bartenders do it, and it's like, oh, it works for them. Like, let me try. It's like, no, what it is they're being them.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with sex. Really, what it is if you have the personality of come visit me, then you can say that. But for someone like you and I, We're not the, hey, come visit me types. We don't even talk about where we work as far as like saying the name like that. Because I'm not saying come visit me. I'm not trying to take money from people. Well, I mean, I am, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not begging for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not to say that other people
That's
are.
not what they're doing, yeah.
That does not look like begging to me at all. As literally your personality. Hey, please come visit.
I acknowledge it. Okay, what's up? Yeah, if you posting that is gonna get, 5, 10 extra guys in there, and it's gonna tip you and bring more business.
Yeah.
In. Fuck it, do it. Post it. I was just laughing at myself at how like 3-something years ago I was like talking shit about
that short? I thought that was from like 5-10 years ago.
That was like 3-4 years ago.
Man, I was shooting you some bail on that. I was like, oh man, he's changed 3 years. You ain't changed that much.
Even back then, yes. But
Jesus,
then even more recently, it wasn't. It was just me, just kind of like trying to point and laugh. But it's like, it was hating because I can't pull that off. So
hey, at least you acknowledge what it is. At least you don't double down.
Laughing at myself.
At least you don't double down on it. I give you credit for that.
On it. I laughing at myself and be like, that was fucking stupid.
Right.
Because I can't pull it off.
But to piggyback on something we said on the last episode, shout out to the regulars, because for a lot of people who do those posts, that's why they're doing it. That's like a bat signal to say, hey, if you're one of my regulars or you wanted to come see me, but you don't know where I'm working today or if I'm working today because you don't know my schedule. Like a lot of us don't have set schedules, I kind of do, but I also kind of don't. You know what I mean? My hours are never set. So I never know what hours I'm working on what day until the week before is what I mean. But that also means that my regulars don't know. And I'm not always posting about where I'm at. And I know for a lot of, especially women, it's a fine line between, advertising where you are for your regulars and ending up advertising to people that you don't want to come see you.
Very
like
fine line.
Some creep ass people. And I don't mean just guys. Creeps come in all shapes and sizes. Trust me on that. But sometimes people don't feel comfortable letting people know where they are. So that right there, like, puts them behind other people who can just be like, I'm over here from 6 to 10, come see me. And then they'll get like 5-10 people. But for you and I can't do that.
I definitely can't.
I would look silly as fuck.
I would look stupid.
Yeah. And for a lot of other people, they really can't do that because they don't want people knowing where they're at. Like, they want some people, but like, they got a clingy ex or some shit like that.
That's the worst.
Man.
That is the fucking worst.
I feel for my coworkers. I feel for my peers that have those exes that are willing to come into their place of work.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't be that person.
Yeah,
but
that sucks.
So to drive it into a different direction, I remember 2-3 weeks ago, I had these group of people sitting at the bar. They were really cool, and this one guy kept asking me to make these drinks, and I haven't heard of them, but he was like, "Oh, can you make this and this and that?" And I'm like,
were they like traditional cocktails or just something you never heard of, like they got it at this one bar?
No. I would say they're traditional cocktails because there was a recipe for it. So he was having me make them, and each time he asked me about another one, I was like, "Are you trying to challenge me, dude?
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. I have never heard of these, and I can't remember the names of them. I've told them to you before.
Yeah,
but if I think about them, I'll remember them. And they were good cocktails. But all I kept thinking is like, are you trying to like show me up because I'm the one behind the bar, or are you just trying to impress your friends with your cocktail knowledge? I mean, they were good, but he was a nice guy. That's
the petty in you immediately coming through you. Yeah. Like, this motherfucker's fucking with me.
Yeah. But he was really nice, and he tipped well, so I couldn't really be petty and mad about it. But I was just like, he's fucking with me right now. Isn't he? He's trying to show me up.
I've had that happen a few times. Yeah.
But I just kept thinking, like, there are people out there that do that.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Oh, can you make a fucking Benjamin Franklin?" Like, what the fuck is that? What is a Benjamin Franklin? Oh, you don't know? No, I don't know. What the fuck is that?
None of the jokes that come to mind are appropriate. So I'm going to refrain. I'll tell you when we leave.
Yeah.
But I thought of like 2, and I was like, nope. Nah, not yet.
Do any of them have to do with prostitutes spit?
They do now.
For those of you that don't know, Ben Franklin was a connoisseur of prostitutes. He was.
What?
Yeah. Oh, that man was a
shit.
whore.
You know what? We're not going down that rabbit hole right now. We're gonna stop right there after Columbus Day and all of that bullshit.
Indigenous Peoples Day.
Exactly.
Fuck Columbus.
No, I
Only
still
thing
saw people saying
Only
Columbus
thing
Day.
Columbus
That's
can
my
discover
point.
is these hands. Don't give a fuck.
Whew. Anyway,
But yeah. It's those
yeah.
people that try to be like, look, watch this, guys. I know what I'm talking about here.
Right.
Let me get one of those.
Yeah, and there are people who are like that.
Yeah.
There are also people who they're challenging you. I've had this happen to me where someone came to my bar and challenged me to make, a couple. Actually, all 3 cocktails were traditional cocktails. He's like, I'm gonna put you on a timer, and I'm gonna make these. And he was someone who used to work at that location before I did, and I was like, is he trying me right now? But I wanted all the smoke.
Yeah.
I was like, let me see. I know what my speed is, especially on traditional cocktails that I know how to make that are just like between 4 and 3 touches. Easy. I got that. That's no problem. So I did my thing or whatever. And I remember one of the other people who worked there was like, why was he timing you? I was like, I really don't give a fuck. I wanted to see how fast I could do it. I was like, I don't care what this person thought.
Yeah.
That was for me. I've always been curious about that, but I don't have the time to start the clock, start doing it, and then stop the clock. And I also don't want to do it in front of one of my peers because a lot of times when you're doing something in front of your peers, you mess up more than when you're doing it in front of a guest. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is about that. It's just, that's one of the things that happens. But there's also people who really want to know if you can make a traditional cocktail.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
because that's all they like. Because I had that happen last week. This really nice older couple came in, and it was a male and a female, and the male only ordered traditional cocktails, and the female only ordered cocktails that was on our menu. But that was because she was like, I just want to try something new. That's what she liked. He was like, I only want what I know I like. But he didn't want to have the same thing every time. And they both ordered multiple cocktails. And he said, I wasn't challenging him because one of my regulars was actually sitting next to him and said like, no, he's a good bartender. I really like him. He's like, oh, I wasn't challenging him. He actually is a good bartender. I ordered my third favorite cocktail that sometimes gets fucked up. Like, hey, if you can make this right, then I'll see if you can make this right. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's what's happening. They're challenging you because they're like, I can't go everywhere and get this. So I get this because this is the hardest one to fuck up that I like the most. And then they'll work up that ladder. Just being able to see that in someone's eyes when you make the cocktails that they love and you make it the way they like. Oh man,
I like it. Yeah, and this brings me back to something.
It's the money shot of bartending, by the way. It really fucking is. To see a guest's face, when you see it all over their face, you're like, yeah, that's right. I did that. You see your face right? You don't see your face right now. I see your face right now. I fucking did that. Yes, it's the money shot of bartending. I don't care what anybody says. When you see a guest that's like, ooh, that was good. You're like, yeah, it was. It fucking was. I'm glad it was good for you because it's good for me right now, bro. Somebody get me a bar towel. And that's the name of the episode. That's the name of the episode right there. Somebody get me a bar towel right now.
Oh my God. Well, the reason, Jesus Christ. I was trying to piggyback and say that, like how he gave you that tier list of things, whatever.
Yeah.
I had someone last week come in. They wanted a whiskey sour, but they asked him like, "Hey, do you make yours with egg whites?" And I was like, "It's the only way to make them." He's like, "Oh, okay," because I went somewhere and they said like they put cinnamon or something on it. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, that's not right, but I've heard that happens
Right.
sometimes. I'm like, no, it's this, and this. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Well, go ahead and make it.
Yeah.
So I made it, and they're like, oh, this is fucking good. They ordered like 3 more after that, and I was like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Take it. I
Yeah.
can take it.
Yeah. They took it 3 times.
They did.
That's the thing. That's a champ right there, boy.
Yeah, but when they
Yeah.
told me, I'm like, no, it's got egg white, this,
Yeah.
and this, and they're like, okay. I was like, so next time you go back to that place, give them that list.
And
I get it. It depends on where you are.
It's a regional thing. It depends on where you are. You know, depending on where you are in the country or in the world, things are made differently. It doesn't mean that this person knows how to make it right or doesn't. Just means that may be how they make
That's how
it
they do
there.
it. Yeah,
It just is what it is, man.
it is what it is.
You know, that actually reminds me of something. I saw an article a few weeks back about the top 50 bars in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw, like, thankfully, my algorithm only shows me like dogs, cats, and bar shit, and then stuff about traveling. You know, Instagram, on the other hand, I don't know what algorithm I'm in, but please, when I go to the search bar, I don't need to see models the whole time. I don't care. They all look the same. Like, for
You can just
I don't
hit
be
not interested. You can do a long.
show me
press on
that. Show me that off camera.
Okay.
Like, it's so
I
frustrating,
got you.
dude. Like, whenever I go to search for something, all it is just nothing but IG models. I give no fucks
I got
about
pigs.
that.
I got mini pigs on mine.
You know, send me the pigs, homie. Send me the pigs.
But yeah, so top
but
50.
like I saw this thing with the top 50 bars, and it was saying for the first time this one bar in Europe wasn't number 1. It's a bar I've never heard of. So how is it the number 1 bar in the world? But it's because depending on what circles you travel in, they're the ones who describe it as like the number 1 bar in the world or the best bar they've
so
ever gone
it's
to.
more subjective.
Very.
Okay.
It's just like when we've all heard this, all of us. You're my favorite server. You're my favorite bartender. Like I was wearing the shirt on the last episode. I think the one I was wearing was your favorite server's favorite bartender, you know? But like, you have guests that come in, and because you gave them the experience you're supposed to, they're like, oh, you're the best bartender I've ever seen. You're the best bartender I've ever had, and this and that. And the thing is, the bartender next to you may be a better bartender and may not be. Doesn't matter. You're that person's favorite at that moment. So how can a list say that this is the best bar in the world and no one's heard of it? No one cares about it. You know what I'm saying? Toby Keith's I Love This Bar and Grill, depending on where it's at, may be the most popular bar. You know, if it's in like Phoenix, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yo, they
tuck it
love
over
that out there.
Oh my gosh.
Also, in Rosemont, in just outside of Chicago, they had one out there, and that was super popping, super popping.
Hey, he knew what he was doing when he made that.
I went there once, and I was like, "This is not for me.
You know, the thing that
It's not for
I've
me."
always been very curious about,
Not for me.
and it actually ties into our
It's
podcast.
like a big ass warehouse, and they just stuck like as many wells in there as they can. It's
Right.
just huge for
Right.
no reason.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I don't understand some of the thought processes that goes on with people when they're creating these bar concepts, restaurant concepts and stuff like that. I know Phoenix was like this. I've seen it, you know, when I worked in Seattle. Shit, I've seen it in LA a little bit. Although LA so far I've seen has been a little bit better about this.
Yeah.
But you have a place that's one thing during the day and it's a whole other thing at night. And then you're in there
Yeah.
and it's like this music doesn't fit this aesthetic. Nothing is, these two things completely clash. I don't understand. I just don't know what, like, if you want to be this, then just be this.
Yeah.
And if you want to be that, then just be that. But to be like a country bar and, you know, they're like, oh, let's play a bunch of rap music or pop music to get people in here. It's like, nah, you're a country bar.
Yeah,
It better
be
be
a country
nothing
bar.
but country
Yep.
the entire time. Don't play anything else but country.
Australian. Be Australian.
Be Australian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're a reggae bar, reggae bars play nothing but reggae. You know what I mean? Like, they know who they are. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
You know, I had no segue for that. I was
No,
just
no,
like,
no. That, I mean,
bro,
yeah.
that bugs the shit out of me. You go into a place,
But I also
and,
seen a lot of those Toby Keiths close down a lot too because that they couldn't decide what they wanted to do. Like there's one in Phoenix, or not Phoenix, it might have been Glendale that closed down. So it was open for a couple months and then they weren't busy, so they closed it down.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of closing down, we're pretty much at the end of this episode.
Yeah,
so
we got to close it down.
we got to close it down
So.
before they cut the cameras on us.
What?
No, I'm saying just like I remember a bar in Phoenix. The servers and bartenders showed up for their shift, and the place was chained up. The place had closed down and didn't let them know. And I just don't want to have that happen with the cameras. So
okay, we'll save that.
we're gonna go before they make us go.
We're gonna
Don't leave
save
me
that
hanging.
story.
Don't leave me hanging.
Yeah,
Don't
I'm
leave me
not.
hanging.
All right,
Till next week.
take care.
I saw the time. I was like, nope,
Yeah.
wrap it up.